All right. Let me see what this mic's doing. Hello, hello, hello. All right. It's not financial advice, but take it as you please. All right. I'm not a financial advisor. That's it. That's all I have to say. But I want to do like a little charting session. You know, I've kind of stepped away from YouTube for a while, and I've been motivated to get back into it. So yeah, I kind of just want to explain where I am, and I've learned a lot since I've been gone. And yeah, so let's just get into it. We could start on the weekly of NASDAQ, I guess. Man, last time I was on the chart, we were probably like over here, huh? It really looks like a big order block over here, and that was a tap into it. But sorry, besides the point, we practically inverse this fair value gap. Wow, I haven't even realized that. So I guess we could see where the next draw is going. We are kind of looking really bullish now. I think we'll probably be bullish. Oh, man, we could see this. Let me think about this. So we got fair value up on the weekly here. And it looks like we have one more week to close it. And if it closes like this, clearly inverses. So, or if it just, this is it manipulating, could be a huge manipulation into this high through this inversion here. And on a lower time frame, just, you know, have this whole setup of some form of manipulation leg. We got the sweep above here. Only thing is, sweep above here. Now we need some more price action to really confirm our bias. Right now we're in indecision. You can't really short it or you can't really long it because it's the market kind of already took out its draw. Now it just depends if it wants to do, you know, something in regards of this. Hold on. Something in regards of like coming down, having some form of like internal model, and then really going higher here. Can do something like that, have a turtle soup at these lows because it left relatively equal lows and it did just sweep out. I would like to see some form of rebalance to at least, you know, equilibrium, maybe OTE of this range, of this huge leg here into this accumulation range. I wouldn't really look for any long setups if we're sitting up there, to be honest. Like, that's just, we're too much in a premium to have any long setups. So I do like this range here, this accumulation. And if it wants to target these lows, that would be nice as well. But we are really in like a very contentious spot, I would say, in the market, to be honest, with these huge imbalances here, because we are in a huge imbalance. And you can't really tell how it wants to play with it. We have this order block. We have some of this buy side liquidity. We don't know if we want to take out these highs. And on the other hand, on ES, it's like, man, we are just cooking. So both of them, if they want to go higher, they're going to look for retracements. I usually trade options, so my charts are a little bit different. So the NAS 100 kind of already took out these highs. And so it definitely looks way more bullish on here than it does on futures charts. The only issue is, okay, huge SMT, right? But also, we swept out this high. Two things could happen. We come into this accumulation range, you know, we rebalance the equilibrium, bounce off some form of fair value gap on like this 4 hour, 1 hour, whatever, and then we go higher, take out more buy side liquidity. Or we could use this as our sell side, respect all of this, this breaker that we're in now. By the way, what makes a breaker? High, low, higher, high, lower, low. Breaker block. So this could be a breaker downwards, and I would say if I want to see shorts, I would wait to see a body at least close underneath this low. And you obviously have low hanging fruit here, but if it closes underneath this low, you could possibly see this becoming a form of manipulation. And if it really closes, if we just get huge movement downwards like this, we get tap, whatever, boom, and then some huge movement downwards to where it closes underneath these lows, body comes underneath here, then we could really see this being used as some form of support. And we'll draw that out and we'll look and see, because then it would become a bearish breaker, high, low, higher high, lower low, and we want to see some form of flip side, use that as a opposing accumulation range down to these relatively equal lows, because it has a lot of liquidity down here. And yeah, we can measure this for some standard deviation. Yeah, that leg works. The only thing with this leg is that you could clearly see how liquidity really, really lines up with standard deviation levels, which is kind of scary if you want to be long. Now, this is all theory, None of this could happen. This was just one of two options, whether this wants to break under, tap, tap, show some bearish breaker here, and use that as liquidity, use this as a respected breaker block, and go lower. Or we're bullish, and it just keeps rebalancing, uses this as an accumulation range. There's a couple things we could do. Anyway, I want to go over a trade I took today that I found really high confluence that could help out, if you're wanting to work on your setups or your executions, really. So let me just find where it is on the chart. So let me just go through my bias. We were already extended through highs, so I kind of had this one drawn out. I wanted to see it tap that high, and depending on what time it was, I wanted to see what the setup looked like. And I just liked how this was huge consolidation. So yeah, I kind of paid attention to that in a way. Also, when I was looking at this on the 1 hour earlier, I kind of saw how we had this weird, huge up, down, consolidation, slow volume, then huge volume, sweeping out this. And then this was just a pivotal point after it dropped. It dropped so much after here. So I was like, wait a minute, let me measure this out, because it can be a form of manipulation range. With this standard deviation, find out where the OTE is. Anyway, I don't like, this is too much sauce, low key. I'll skip that. But this is I'm giving way too much sauce. Anyway, back to that high. I don't want to get too much into it. Back to that high, accumulation range, and we are bullish. We were respecting this fair value gap here. Accumulating. Let's see what quadrant that wick was. I'm kind of curious now. Let's see. All right. Yeah. All right. I was just curious. So we were consolidating for a couple of days, and we finally got the expansion move overnight. And I was looking at it, and I saw, okay, market opened up here. There's no shot. We're at least not going a little bit low to get some form of retracement. Even if we're bullish, we got to get a retracement. If we're bearish after the sweep, then we're going lower anyway. So 9:30, market opens. Boom. I see huge move up. I'm looking any order blocks. We have one order block here. We have an order block down here. We don't really have much to work with. We rally up. There's absolutely no price action now we could use. Just completely rallied up to that high. And I was waiting for my time, 9:50 between. Let me get to the minute so I can mark it out on the minute. I was waiting for that time, 9:50. Let me make this one black. Hold on. All right, just so you can see the time zone. 9:50 between 10:10. It's a macro. I liked how it. Oh man, this was just like such an algorithmic day. I really liked how it came up, consolidated. So it kind of looks like a market maker in a way. This was a market maker buy and then a market maker sell, but this was like on a low time frame. Not even on the 1 minute it looks proper, but you could kind of see the range where it accumulates and then it goes into the buy side liquidity and have some form of manipulation here. So I really did like that, where it came up into this and it had order blocks in it and all of those other confluences over there where I was like, this is a volatile zone. So I want to see it at least rebalance a little bit. And it left the opening price untapped, the 9:30. This never even got swept. It just moved away. So I was expecting a return. Anyway, so I kind of liked how it set in this high, because then you got a high, a low, a higher high, and then a lower low. I measured out this manipulation, and I targeted 2.5, and then it went to the drawn liquidity, which probably I should put, which would probably be the -3. Holy shit. That just fucked me up. The way that lined up like so perfectly. I mean, I usually have the -3 level on my fib, and here's my fib settings. But for some reason I forgot to put it on recently, and yeah, that was kind of expected but unexpected, you know. That was crazy how it lined exactly up with the 3 level here. Anyway, so yeah, 2.5 was one of the most volatile zones. See how it comes, taps into 2, comes up a little bit, uses this fair value gap, push itself lower to 3 standard deviation here. And then we got this high, this low, higher high into that manipulation leg. I drew this out for it to be what? Bearish breaker, right? And I'll make this purple so we can use it better. Yeah, boom, a bearish breaker. So there's one confluence. And I was in my bed when I took this trade because I was on my phone. I was just mad tired. So all I was looking at was, boom, we get here. I saw this sweep. And I saw how it was trickling down slowly like this. And I legit told myself, I'm not going to take any trade unless the body's displaced underneath this low. Because if it does, then you got boom, manipulation leg, higher time frame sweep. You got good liquidity pools. I mean, it's perfect. You got this breaker block, and it's inside a fair value gap on the 5 minute. Let's have that. So I was like, we got beautiful setups here, and we don't need this anymore. So we got very nice setups here. I'm not going to take it unless this displaces, because it's just not a setup. Now, for the people that are like, how do you know that this fair value gap was like not a worry, whatever? That's a lot to get into, and I could explain it, but that's like a lot of explaining to do, so I don't want to get into it this video. Why wasn't I worried about coming into equilibrium of this range and then displacing higher? And how did I know that it wasn't just going to use this 15 minute and go higher? Which you don't really know. Because even if it did, you're still most likely going to get take profit hit between 2.5. But I don't want to get into it. There's some things I just don't like to talk about. Just, online like this for free and shit. Anyway, boom, manipulation. You had an internal, very, very internal model here, which you probably don't see, and I didn't even see because it wasn't even necessary. But this was definitely a 15-second or maybe even a 5-second turtle soup. And all you really needed, what I did, yeah, sure, you could use this internal model to really get the most precise entry. Like this was an internal sweep, and then you use this fair value gap, boom, precision, and you put your stop above here. That's nice, and I was not down for that. I didn't really care too much because I knew, okay, if I enter in here, right? And even though, yeah, usually if I'm seriously trading, I'll care more. But if I entered in here and my stop's here versus if I entered in, here, or if I entered in down here when it first tapped into the breaker, sure, I could have gotten a little bit better fill, a little bit of better risk to reward. But at the same time, it was just like, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to get stopped out if I'm going to get stopped out. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you could get a better fill here. You could get a better fill here. Better fill, worser fill here. It doesn't. At the end of the day, I just wanted to get filled and put my stop above that 5-minute fair value gap. So it kind of looks something like, let me see. I have a screenshot on my phone. All right, so it doesn't fully show. Let me just see. So boom, I get filled. If you could see that breaker right here, let me just lower the brightness a little bit. I get filled like right about here. Okay, so something like that. Stop above that. I aimed for 2 and 2. And my stop was a little bit higher. So I really aimed for 2. I just wanted to see 2. Because once it gets to here, I'm not too certain if it wants to play. You could always have left a runner for this 3 standard deviation and that low. That was almost a certain, but I do options, so it's a little bit different with time degradation and all that stuff. I don't want to get involved with that right now. Anyway, so that was the setup for today. And my last confluence that I forgot to mention is, new week opening gap. So we had all of these confluences right now. It kind of looks like, the AMD as well, which is funny how it's always doing that. So we had some form of AMD here. Anyway, you had all those confluences happening here. And I do options, like I said. So I look at QQQ. That's where I execute. And, so I did still leave the market. This is exactly where I got filled then. So I left the marker. My stop was right here. Aimed for 2, like I said. And, yeah, so it was like decent risk reward, 1 to 3.66. Really good. And, yeah, I know I marked out a lot on this chart. Let me see, where was it? I marked out a lot on here, and it looked like, but literally when I'm trading, this is literally all I do. Because I see this with my eyes. I see the fair value gaps with my eyes. I see this. I see this. I see this. I saw the higher time frame sweep. All I needed to do was see the standard deviation levels. And, yeah, and so my last and final confluence, even though it didn't even project how I really wanted to, in all honesty, was this range. I really liked this new week opening gap. I thought we were going to dig into it more, but we didn't, so which leads me to believe that we probably will dig into it eventually. Just wasn't today, so it left it for us, and we can use it as another confluence later. Anyway, kind of a long video. I'm very tired. Like I said, this isn't financial advice. I have a free Discord in the link below. If you want to join it, I'm active in there most of the time, and if you ever need help, you could personally message me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.